Have you ever had a near-death experience? Or perhaps someone you know may have had a near-death experience? Well, if so, we would love to hear your story and have you as a guest on our podcast. For more information, visit NDE.world. Again, that's NDE.world. We would love to hear your story.
Welcome to the NDE World Podcast, where we explore the magical, mystical, and spiritual world of near-death experiences. And now, Ashton Lewis and Daphne Lynn.
And we are back in the studio. Welcome back to the NDE World Podcast. I am your host, Ashton Lewis, and my lovely co-host, Miss Daphne Lynn. Hello, Daphne. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you?
I am absolutely fantastic.
That is so good to hear.
Yeah, that's good. That's a real good thing.
Got a high vibe today. Good.
Absolutely. And I send, and we can send together all of these positive vibes to all of those out there.
Yes.
All of the love.
Sending out
whoever's
positive
listening,
vibes.
yeah. Here goes to you guys. Y'all take all this positive love and energy and peace and everything and put it to some good use.
Yes. Spread the love.
Absolutely. So in case you didn't know it, we like to take a near-death experiences known as NDEs and just kind of we listen to them. We do interviews. We do reviews. We do different things like that, and we actually break them down to different elements and we comment on them. So it's kind of like our expertise. We just kind of go in there and really break it all down and kind of share that with the listeners, So is there anything you want to share with the listeners? Kind of give them an idea about what we do before we move on?
Yeah.
For those who don't really know much about what we do.
Anything from NDE, OBE, out-of-body experience, spiritual thing, anything that's happened to you spiritually, extraordinary, you want to share that, by all means, please reach out. Go to NDE.world and, contact us through there. Let us know your story. We'll be happy to interview
to have
you.
On as a guest, yeah.
Yes, we would love that.
And it's really fun and easy. You don't even have to leave your home. Everything is
No.
it's just a phone call.
Sit around in your jammers like we do sometimes. Do our podcast.
Yeah, just
from the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, it's just a phone call. Just grab the phone call and we'll just take it and we'll just listen. You just share your story with us, and it won't be live, so you don't have to be nervous. But we'll take it, and if there's anything you want to take out or add or delete or whatever, we can take care of all that and the editing. And once everything's done, we can we'll actually release it live, and then we'll let you guys know the release date and where to listen to the actual broadcast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump into today's session. We're going to go ahead and get right to it and listen to our first NDE, and we'll break it down and see what kind of nuggets we can pull out of it. How's it sound?
First NDE of the day.
Uh-huh.
So let's roll this and see what we got.
Sounds good to
What
me.
lessons can we learn?
That's right.
Let's pick it apart.
The nuggets.
Yeah, the nugs. We
Gotta
love
get
the nugs.
Gotta get the nugs. Okay, and we are rolling.
I started convulsing during labor. Not knowing, ever having seen, or been told, what childbirth was, or would be, like, I had no idea that convulsions were not a part of it. I was raised in a family with a cold, calculating, cheating mother, who looked at her children as being an inconvenience to her having fun, so I also knew I would have little to no child-rearing skills. The convulsions tightened every part of my body, and I felt like I was bouncing off the gurney, until I convulsed out of my body, and was looking down at my body as it continued to convulse. I floated up to the ceiling, while looking at the body below. Both the doctor and the nurse were checking it, me. I was pulled back through the ceiling tiles and into a tunnel. To a place of cloudy space. The cloudy area materialized into a large marble room with marble doors and a being at the center. I'll refer to this person as the Grim Reaper, who was cloaked in a dark cloth, covering all parts. The Grim Reaper pointed, indicating to me to choose a door. but before I could choose, a door opened and I had already gone through it. I found myself in what I now think of as a previous life. I smelled smoke from a fire I was near, and saw others around me. I looked into another woman's eyes, and I knew her immediately as the woman I called my grandmother in this life. I knew then that our lives had danced around each other since time began. She was once my mother and once my sister. She was my aunt, and several times my cousin. The life that was being shown to me now was during a prehistoric time, when we lived winters by a creek cave, and summers we had a camp in the woods where we foraged. Looking down, I realized I had a child in my arms, and the woman I had known in so many lives was chatting with me, telling me to cover the child to keep it warm. Then she was showing me how to tie the wraps around me to carry the child, while the woman and I walked into the deep woods to collect dried wood to keep the fires going. I laid the child down on the top of the woodpile I had collected and only turned my back to pick up a few sticks that had fallen, when a wolf jumped behind me and grabbed my child. The horror I felt goes without saying, but with a stick in my hand, I leaped to grab the child before even a thought went through my mind. The wolf looked deep into my eyes and dropped the child, but grabbed my arm, biting deep. This female wolf spirit became my own. As I woke up in a room in the hospital, I now realize I was given the spirit energy to have the strength to raise my child, knowledge that was not given to me in this life from anywhere else.
Wonderful. Okay, and we are back. So, Miss Daphne, what do you think about this? This is a really nice one. I like it. It starts off, let you know that if you really think about it, that this was, back in 1969, and there weren't really a lot of so-called NDE stories and things like that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. So it's rare that you heard of such cases at that time.
Yeah, so she had 3 different experiences according to this little thing that we just heard. So I'm going to kind of bypass some of the first notes that I've got here, but let's jump straight to the out-of-body experience. The dark, was it the vortex thing or something? But remember it said like the gray, misty area?
Mm-hmm. She felt sort of relaxed.
And had felt a hand on her left shoulder, and it was her grandmother.
Yes. I'm hearing a lot of these stories where they are approached from the left side.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
And it just clicked in my brain, we're left brain and right brain, we mainly operate out of our left side of our brain. We need to operate more from the right side. That's the more spiritual side. So I'm wondering if there's a connection there somehow with being approached from the left side, that's that right side of the brain operating in the spiritual realm.
I have
something
no clue.
to think about. But that's what went through my brain. Because, I am hearing a lot of these left side being approached. I have no clue,
but I will start listening for that. Because, now that you mention it, because I do hear that, but I never really, we'll just have to listen to see if there's going to be somebody approaching from the right side or left. Next time we hear it, we'll bring it to everyone's attention.
It's something to meditate on anyway.
So grandmother points up to the large white mansion up on the hill.
Zeus's
dark
mansion.
Beautiful green grass, cut really perfect and mowed, perfect manicure, and beautiful flowers all alive, and etc. And she noticed this white, beautiful staircase going up to the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought this was Zeus's palace or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Any comments on that?
Zeus's palace, yeah.
So, was it Zeus? Because she never did say who it was, did she? Or did she?
She didn't. But the words that right after that, when she was watching the TV showing her life, she was approached and someone said, "Come follow me." That is a biblical canon quote from the deity of Jesus.
Okay.
He says that a lot, "Come follow me."
So it might have been maybe a Jesus.
It could have been, a reference.
I think they would at least mention it, because everyone usually has Jesus experience
Right.
usually brings his name out.
She's talking about Zeus.
Right. So,
So,
because she
something to
might have
think
thought it
about.
might have been Zeus coming to the rescue or something. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, but I love the fact that the spirits, the guides, are humorous over there because she said that they laughed when she didn't immediately go with them. So there's a lot of humor on the
On the
other
other side,
side.
the
Yes.
lightheartedness. Yeah, you hear that all the time. Those
Yep.
beings laughing. And it's really the source itself. Because keep in mind, if you can keep in mind, it's the source working through you and through your mind and through your how you put all these things together, and it has to
Right.
appear to you the only way it knows that you know how to comprehend it.
I like, yeah, you're making me think about, on down in the story, but she goes on to tell about, guns and things being in heaven and ask, what would that be in heaven for? And he said, because whatever makes Cindy's soul happy, what brings her comfort. So heaven or hell is what we make it
We make it.
on the other side. So we've been saying
And
this
even
time
on
and
this side
again.
as well, could it not be like a part of it? Can you not start with the things you've created in your mind in this world that you're going to have to carry over? You've got to go through that purge.
Exactly.
Let me back up just a little bit before we get too far about that. But I love that point you just made there, and we're going to talk about that a little more in depth here in a second. But let's back up a little bit where they were walking down the meadow and noticed all these really beautiful tamed animals. They were wild, but they were all tamed, and they were funny animals and things like
And
that.
taught.
And yeah, absolutely. And I forgot what it was, but I think that she had asked some kind of question or made a comment, and he said, "I created them both." So I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we got the 12 grain bread. I'm trying to make sense of a lot of this here. Let's see. There's the woman, the apple juice, and
Soup and refrigerator and on the
yeah. So there's a lot of symbolism in there. Now you
yeah.
had brought up this point earlier where she said that she didn't think that heaven would have guns. Okay. And he told her, Cindy's heaven is here. I'm going to quote this and we're going to comment on this. And I want everybody to really listen to this part because this comes up pretty often. Cindy's, which is the lady's near-death experience, the one who we're actually taking this story from, the spirit or this being or Jesus or whoever this was, Zeus or whoever, told her that her heaven is made up of whatever makes her soul happy.
And brings her
Comments.
comfort.
And brings her comfort. Comments on that, please.
Yes, I mean, you see so many different variations and stories of what heaven or that side of the veil looks like or is,
Or even hell.
even hell, yeah.
And I believe it's just all in your mind. According to this and according to a lot of these things we're getting. It's not everything in the mind.
It's what we make it to be.
Exactly. And could that not
Just
chime?
like here, we make our life heaven or make our life hell on this side of the realm too.
Right.
Choose to be the empath or the apathetic.
Well, I think about this, how people have went into these near-death experiences all panicking and frantic and all this, that wrong vibration, and then went straight to a NDE.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Whereas they'd come into a
That
more
fear.
calmer, more peaceful, they'd have a more pleasant one. And that's how, I had recently started studying the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and that's one of the things they stress is to go into the right mindset and meditate and calm and welcome death and go in it really easy and don't go fighting and kicking. But that's going to affect the vibration and know where you're at as you transition, because you're going to keep going. You're going to still have the same consciousness that you've got right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and then it says like the third time around, it was in the cabin again, like you said, and the soup and the bear rug and a lot of descriptive stuff and symbols and stuff I'm not really going to get into or try to make any sense of right now. The person arrived and they stood on the mountain and looked out over the mountain, and I thought this was pretty cool. They said that in heaven you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, and he said even to different universes.
Different universes, different
And
galaxies,
she
different,
chose to go on a canoe ride. So,
And as soon as she said that, there she was in a canoe.
yeah. So that's instant.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they were canoeing around the New Jerusalem.
And the 7 questions.
Yeah.
Really? That's one. I mean,
Yeah.
that's humorous.
It is. So you're telling
But it
me,
counted.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you're
so there
telling
was
me,
another one.
yeah. You're telling me if I ask a question here that that's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And also, you got to love the humor. There is humor in our Creator, our Father, the Source, God. Whatever you want to call that, however it appears to you in your life. You can understand that there's humor because there's humor in humans. There's
Oh,
humor
yeah.
in animals. There's humor in all things, So it's got to come from the source. So if we get it from the source has to be humorous.
Yeah, and think about how many questions he allotted her. I mean, right off the bat, he knew, being all-knowing, that 2 or 3 of them was going to be just null and void.
Right.
That's loving to give her a
So,
couple of extra questions.
Yeah. So technically, he probably knows going in and going to ask 5 questions. So he threw those 2 on top
two
just to kind of
extras.
balance it. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Well, looking at the clock, let's go ahead and move on to our next clip here now and see what we can do about it.
Oh, wait, no. There was one more point I wanted to make
Sure.
on
Go
this.
ahead.
She did get to a serious question though. How can he send people to hell?
Yes.
How can he send people to
comment
hell?
on that, please.
He said they send themselves.
Right.
Not that he did it. Not so their choices, their lifestyle sent them to that place that is of torment. But he went on to elaborate that they must forgive themselves.
Right. He says, I've already forgiven them.
Yes.
They have to learn how to forgive themselves. So
once
that's
you forgive,
what I
they
mentioned
go to
earlier.
heaven.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's why a lot of these the NDEs, they'll go into that and they're like seeing demons and fighting demons and getting clawed and pulled and tugged and everything, and just by acknowledging that or acknowledging, hey, this is all in my head. This is
Yeah, just like on the last.
I am creating this with my own mind. God save me, or if that's what you think, or
That's exactly
that's
what
where
I
you go
was
to, or
gonna say is a couple of episodes ago we were listening to some hybrid stories, and in that distressing point in both stories, both of the NDEers said, "God help me," and instantly they received what they needed.
Yeah.
To come out of that distressing situation.
Yeah.
So this right here ties in with we have to forgive ourselves.
Right.
To keep from that tormented spot in our life.
You've got to start doing that now.
Yes. Start here on this side of the veil.
And forgive others. Not just yourself, learn to forgive. Forgive is one of the major things we get back from the other side as well.
Yeah,
love, forgiveness, gratitude.
Yes, I have a book that, I know it's a little off subject here, but I want to share this with the audience. There's a book out there called Moonology. And in that book, they have a moon ceremony where they write down the people who have hurt them, who they feel that they have hurt, and they have to sit down in the moon, in front of the moon, and just release these thoughts and these hurts and pains of
Cleanse the spirit.
by
Gotcha.
releasing colored balloons or whatever. But go through that process. Forgive yourself first, but also forgive those who have hurt you, because if you're holding on to resentment, you're only hurting yourself.
Right.
You're not hurting anybody else but yourself. So you have to start with self first.
And that can turn into diseases within the body.
Oh yeah,
Cancers and things like that do have their roots in experiences that we have in our life that we hold on to and we should let go of. Mm-hmm. And not to mention, you throw in your diet, eating animal and eating flesh, and just garbage, putting it in the temple as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So definitely, work on forgiveness and love.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and do another one real quick. We've got a few minutes left, so we'll just go throw a short one in and take it from there. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Okay. All right, then we are rolling.
I started convulsing during labor. Not knowing, ever having seen, or been told, what childbirth was, or would be, like, I had no idea that convulsions were not a part of it. I was raised in a family with a cold, calculating, cheating mother, who looked at her children as being an inconvenience to her having fun, so I also knew I would have little to no child-rearing skills. The convulsions tightened every part of my body, and I felt like I was bouncing off the gurney, until I convulsed out of my body, and was looking down at my body as it continued to convulse. I floated up to the ceiling, while looking at the body below. Both the doctor and the nurse were checking it, me. I was pulled back through the ceiling tiles and into a tunnel. To a place of cloudy space. The cloudy area materialized into a large marble room with marble doors and a being at the center. I'll refer to this person as the Grim Reaper, who was cloaked in a dark cloth, covering all parts. The Grim Reaper pointed, indicating to me to choose a door. But before I could choose, a door opened and I had already gone through it. I found myself in what I now think of as a previous life. I smelled smoke from a fire I was near, and saw others around me. I looked into another woman's eyes, and I knew her immediately as the woman I called my grandmother in this life. I knew then that our lives had danced around each other since time began. She was once my mother and once my sister. She was my aunt, and several times my cousin. The life that was being shown to me now was during a prehistoric time, when we lived winters by a creek cave, and summers we had a camp in the woods where we foraged. Looking down, I realized I had a child in my arms, and the woman I had known in so many lives was chatting with me, telling me to cover the child to keep it warm. Into the deep woods. Then she was showing me how to tie the fires going. To carry the child. I laid the child down on the top of the wood pile I had collected and only turned my back to pick up a few sticks that had fallen, when a wolf jumped behind me and grabbed my child. The horror I felt goes without saying, but with a stick in my hand, I leaped to grab the child before even a thought went through my mind. The wolf looked deep into my eyes and dropped the child, but grabbed my arm, biting deep. This female wolf spirit became my own. As I woke up in a room in the hospital, I now realize I was given the spirit energy to have the strength to raise my child, knowledge that was not given to me in this life from anywhere else.
Okay, we are back. Okay, it looks like this lady had a not so pleasant mother and an upbringing that wasn't really the best role model on planet Earth. What do you think, Miss Daphne?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. So let's jump over to the actual OBE itself, where she started. She said she floated up to the ceiling, and then through the ceiling, and then into a tunnel, in a cloudy space. And this, after the cloudy space cleared away, there's a large marble room with doors. And check this out.
A being there.
A being in the middle of all that. And she called it the Grim Reaper because it was what? Dressed in black, maybe?
Dressed in black. Dark clothes.
That is, you know, I had mentioned earlier in another episode that I've never heard of anything in black. And
now it's like
we're hearing it like in everywhere, yeah. So we probably heard it before, just really didn't pay no attention to it, you
right.
know. But I'm sure there is some significance because black, it does have a meaning in these NDEs.
Oh yeah,
just like definitely. The white does, and you know, colors mean things and all, but it means what it means to that person, you know.
Yeah, and I think when she was being shown the doors and she could choose whichever one she wanted, but immediately one opened and she went through it without actually choosing it. So, and it went into a previous life.
Yeah.
That's beauty right there in itself, a little nugget for those.
It is a nugget. It's a nugget. And to go with that thought, what about this? The woman who was her grandmother in this life, Had also been her mother in
her
another
sister,
life.
an aunt, and
Had been her
cousins.
sister, her aunt, and multiple cousins.
Yeah,
Or
in
cousin
other
multiple
lives.
times in other lives. So
That's soul family.
That's that soul family.
That's that soul family, yeah.
So we need to start keeping that in mind, the concept of the soul family, because
Yeah.
they say you experience all throughout your life these people that
The
you
people
know.
you're in contact with are always in your life. So that right
Wow.
there is one of those little proofs that, hey, your family is your family. It's just a soul family.
Yeah, wow. So Mr. Grim Reaper points to the door, or points the direction for her to choose, and before she can even choose, it was kind of almost,
Just push through. Go.
she went through. Okay, so we've got the past life, like you said, but I do like that part about the grandmother in this life, but a mother and sister, aunt, cousins, and all that.
Yeah.
So it just kind of gets you thinking about that reincarnation concept.
It does. And she was concerned about having her child because she didn't have a good role model to be raising children by from her upbringing. And in the NDE, her grandmother was showing her how to raise her child, how to do certain things with the child. So that is that guidance on another level,
Yeah.
directing her as to how to raise a child, take care of it.
Right. And what about the wolf? Okay, and it says there was a wolf that had grabbed the child,
Right.
but she wasn't going to let the child go. And the wolf looked at her in the eye.
And let the child go, and then bit her.
Yeah, and she realized that what? That the wolf was who?
Giving her the strength to raise. It was her giving her the strength to raise her child. That's
Exactly.
pretty interesting. Yeah. So the protection, that mother instinct had already kicked in this NDE, because she had that stick and she was ready to hurt something for her child.
Absolutely.
So that protection instinct was already there.
Right.
She just needed guidance in how to raise a child. So
That's right.
Yeah.
And that would be what I would say would fall more into the lesson of the actual NDE.
exactly, there's always a lesson in every NDE and it's more specific to each individual. Now we can take away, I love to call them nugs. We can take away the nugs from these and really grow and learn and share that knowledge with others. If you take the time and listen to these, you really can start picking up on these and it be a lesson
Right.
for something in your life.
It is. There is. And like I said, it is very specific for the individual, and it's going to have
Yeah.
the meaning for them. But a lot of these meanings do cross over. The symbols definitely cross over. There's without question, because this is what we do. We study these things, and all the experiences I've ever heard, and the interviews, and the documentaries, and watching this stuff and reading this stuff, and just really learning about it. You can see that it's there's a lot of commonalities to it all, even though they're
Exactly.
all different and individually. So,
Yes,
but anyway, well, perfect. Listen, I really appreciated it, and I love the fact that we were able to come out and spend some time with you guys and do us another NDE review there. But well, don't worry, we'll do some more. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. And I hate to kind of cut it short here, but looking at the clock, we got to keep everything within production time limits and things like that. So, any final thoughts, Miss Daphne?
Just reach out and take in the knowledge, just take it, what resonates, let go of what doesn't resonate, and just show the love. Give
the love.
Be forgiving of yourself and others.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good takeaway. There you go, guys. Be forgiving of yourself and forgiving of others. That's a good start. And we love you all so much, and we wish you the best of all things, and peace be with all of you. And until next time,
Let your light shine.
For more information about the NDE World Podcast, visit NDE.world. That's NDE.world.